All right, we are going to do a lesson on dividing fractions. Last week we worked on multiplying, so let's kind of see the similarities here. First of all, let me talk about a little vocabulary. Reciprocals. You need to know this. A reciprocal, two numbers are reciprocals of each other if their product is equal to 1. That sounds really difficult, but all that means is if I have 1/3, I want to know what fraction could I multiply that by to equal 1. Well, if I just look at this, if I were to flip this number, 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3, which would equal 1. Okay? So 1/3's reciprocal is just 3 over 1. All it is that number flipped. Okay? So it just means that if I multiply this number by its reciprocal, which it's flipped, it just equals 1. All right, so the reciprocal of 1/6 would just be 6 over 1. And the reciprocal of 2/3 would be 3 over 2. And the reciprocal of 2/5 would just be 5 over 2. Okay, so you're just flipping that number. Okay, so make sure you know that vocabulary because we'll be talking about that quite a bit. So just write yourself some examples on that first part there on your notes. Remember, please don't put an equal sign between these two. They're not equal, it's just it's reciprocal. Okay? All right, so how do you think that would be any different if I had mixed numbers? I would still want to know what number could I multiply it to get a product of 1. So let's look at these first over here. So if I had 5, first of all, if I wanted that to be a fraction, I'd put it 5 over 1, correct? So its reciprocal would just be that number flipped again, okay? This would be 1/5. If I had 12, its reciprocal would just be 12 over 1, okay? So here's the tricky part. If I have mixed numbers, well, first of all, we're looking at a fraction. So first of all, I need to turn this into an improper fraction. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1, this equals 4/3. So this reciprocal would just be 3 over 4. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so let's look at this one. I need to turn it improper first. So that's 12 plus 1 is 13 over 6. So its reciprocal would be 6 over 13. Okay? All right, so write yourself, pause the video, and write down some examples for that part 1 and part 2 so that you understand what a reciprocal is. Then we'll move on into dividing fractions. All right, this is what you need to know here. Keep, change, flip. All right, in order to solve a division problem, these are the rules that we do to solve it. Keep, change, flip. So the first fraction, you're going to keep it exactly the same. So 3/4 divided by half. The first fraction, you're going to keep it the exact same. Then it says you're going to change the division problem to a multiplication sign. And you're going to flip the second number or multiply by its reciprocal. Okay, I'm kind of making it a little easier terms to just flip, but actually what you're doing is you're multiplying by its reciprocal. Okay, so you're flipping that second number. Then if you notice, it just becomes a problem like we did last week. It's just a multiplication problem. Okay, if you want to, you can cancel. I'm going to cancel here. I'm going to divide by 2, and I get 3 over 2, which is improper, so I'm going to divide. 2 goes into 3 one time. There's 1 left over. Keep my same denominator. Okay? All right? So let's do a couple examples. Keep, change, flip. Okay? So I wrote this up at the top of your paper here, so that can help you to remember. Keep, change, flip. So here's my first fraction. 7/8 divided by a 16th. So I'm going to keep the first number. I'm going to change it to a multiplication sign. You're going to start to see this as your multiplication sign, especially when we get into algebra. So if you see me slip and do it, just know that that dot is a multiplication sign, okay? Times, and then I'm going to flip that number or change it to its reciprocal, okay? Then all I have to do is just multiply. So again, I'm going to cancel. If you choose not to, that's fine. So divide by 8, and I get 14 over 1, which equals 14. Okay? Now, if you didn't cancel, you would have gotten, oops, that should be 1, 8. Let's see, 42. Hey. 112 over 8, then you would have had to have divided. That goes in one time. That 1 should be over here. 32, and you still should have gotten 14. Okay? All right, let's do one more together. All right, example 2, 5/9 divided by 3/12. You have this on your paper. Why don't you pause the video and check and try it by yourself, and then check it to see if you get it correct. All right, check your work there. So I showed you both ways in case you didn't cancel. Of course, I canceled, so that's what I came up with first, but you still should have come up with your same answer. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. Actually, why don't you do the next one by yourself, and I will check it tomorrow. So 6/7 times, 6/7 divided by 3/4. All right, do this problem. I'm going to check it tomorrow, and then we'll move on to dividing mixed fractions tomorrow. I want you to kind of try to figure out what you think you would do if I had a mixed number, okay? All right, so you only had to do the front section of your notes, the left side, and then I'm going to check this last problem, example 3. All right, have a great day, kids.